I found out she was living 2 streets away from me by accident. Not because she told me. Not because anyone thought I deserved to know. Just dumb luck, or maybe bad luck, the kind that makes your stomach drop before your brain catches up. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A year ago, my life was normal. Not perfect, but stable. I had a steady job, a small apartment that always smelled faintly like coffee, and her. Lena. We'd been together for almost 3 years. Long enough to talk about moving in together, long enough that my friends assumed we'd get married eventually. She knew my routines, my stupid habits, the way I needed silence in the mornings. I knew how she laughed when she was nervous, how she avoided conflict, how she'd go quiet when something bothered her. Looking back, maybe that last part should have worried me more. But it didn't. Because when things feel normal, you don't question them. You just live in them, like they'll last forever. Lena and I weren't one of those intense, dramatic couples. No screaming matches, no breakups and makeups. We were calm. Comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. We met through mutual friends at a birthday dinner. She sat across from me, barely spoke at first, but every time I said something stupid, she smiled like she actually found it funny. That smile hooked me. By the end of the night, we were walking home together, talking about nothing and everything. I remember thinking, this feels easy. And it stayed easy. We built routines fast. Friday takeout. Sunday walks. Watching the same shows, arguing over which character was the worst. There were small things, though. She was private. Not secretive, just careful. She never liked posting about us online. Rarely mentioned her past. If I asked about old relationships, she'd brush it off. I just don't like living backwards, she'd say. At the time, I respected that. Now I wonder what she was hiding. The first real red flag didn't feel like one. It was just distance. She started pulling away slowly, like someone inching toward the door but hoping you wouldn't notice. Texts got shorter. Calls less frequent. When we were together, she seemed distracted, like part of her was somewhere else. I asked her about it once. Are you okay? Yeah, she said quickly. Too quickly. Just work stuff. I believed her. Or maybe I wanted to. We all go through phases, right? Stress, burnout, whatever. I told myself not to overthink it. But then she started canceling plans. Not often at first. Just enough to make me feel slightly off balance. Something came up. I'm really tired. Can we do tomorrow? Tomorrow turned into next week. Next week turned into vague promises. And every time I tried to bring it up, she'd deflect. You're overthinking, she'd say gently. And I hated how easily I let that calm me down. The moment things really shifted was so small I almost ignored it. She changed her phone password. Not a big deal, right? People do that. Privacy, security, whatever. But Lena had never cared about that before. She'd leave her phone on the table, unlocked, like it didn't matter. Now she kept it face down. Always. One night, we were watching a movie at my place. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and for a split second, I saw something on her face. Panic. Not irritation. Not annoyance. Panic. She grabbed the phone immediately and stood up. I need to take this. In the other room? I asked, trying to sound casual. Yeah, it's work. She closed the door behind her. I sat there staring at the paused movie, my chest tightening for no clear reason. That was the first time I felt it, that quiet, creeping suspicion. The kind that doesn't shout, just lingers. After that, everything felt off. Once you notice something, you can't unsee it. Every little detail starts to feel like evidence, even if you don't know what it proves. She started texting more, but never in front of me. Late-night messages she'd answer in the bathroom. Calls she'd take outside. I tried to ignore it. I really did. Because the alternative, that something was wrong, meant confronting something I wasn't ready to lose. One night I asked directly, "Is there someone else?" She looked at me like I'd insulted her. "What? No. Where is this coming from? You've been distant. Secretive. It just feels. You don't trust me?" That question shut me up immediately. Because I did trust her. Or I thought I did. "I'm sorry," I said. She softened instantly, stepped closer, touched my arm. "I'm just stressed, okay? Please don't make it into something it's not." And like an idiot, I apologized again. 2 weeks later, she disappeared. No warning. No fight. No dramatic goodbye. Just gone. It started with a missed call. Then another. Then text that stayed unread. "Hey, everything okay? Call me when you can." "Lena?" Nothing. I told myself she was busy. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she needed space. By day 2, I knew something was wrong. By day 3, I was panicking. I went to her apartment. Lights off. No answer. I called her friends. No one had heard from her. Finally, on day 4, I got a message. Not from her. From an unknown number. "Please don't contact me anymore. I need space." That was it. No explanation. No closure. Just a wall dropped in front of me. I called the number immediately. It was disconnected. That's when I realized she changed her number. And she hadn't told me. I don't think I've ever felt that kind of confusion before. Not just heartbreak, confusion. How does someone go from planning a future with you to vanishing like you never existed? I replayed everything in my head. Every conversation. Every moment I might have missed something. Was it me? Did I push too hard? Not enough? I even questioned my own memory. Maybe things weren't as good as I thought. Maybe she'd been unhappy for longer. But disappearing like that? Changing her number? It felt extreme. I tried everything. Emails. Social media. Even reaching out to distant acquaintances. Nothing. It was like she'd erased herself. Or erased me. And the worst part? There was no anger at first. Just this hollow, gnawing feeling like something inside me had been quietly removed without my consent. Weeks passed. Then months. I told people we broke up. I kept it vague because the truth sounded insane. Yeah, it just didn't work out. I avoided details because I didn't have any. At night, though, it was different. That's when the questions got loud. Was she safe? Was she in trouble? Or had she just chosen to leave me? I hated how much I still cared. I checked my phone constantly, half expecting a message that never came. "I'm sorry. That wasn't what it looked like." Anything. But there was nothing. Eventually, life forced me forward. Work, responsibilities, routines. I started functioning again. Not healing. Just existing. I told myself I'd never get answers. And maybe that was something I had to accept. I almost did. Until the day I saw her again. It was a Saturday morning. I was walking home from a grocery store, half awake, thinking about nothing. And then I saw her. Across the street. At first, my brain didn't register it. It felt like seeing a ghost, familiar but impossible. But it was her. Same hair. Same walk. Same way she tucked it behind her ear when the wind hit. She was carrying a bag of groceries, like any normal person, like she hadn't vanished from someone's life. From my life. I froze. My first instinct was denial. No. That can't be her. But it was. And the worst part? She looked fine. Not stressed. Not scared. Not like someone who had to disappear. Just normal. Like nothing had happened. Like I had never mattered. I followed her. I'm not proud of it, but I did. At a distance, trying to stay out of sight, my heart pounding so hard I could barely think straight. She turned down a street I knew. My street. That's when something inside me twisted. No. No way. But she kept walking. Calm. Familiar. And then she stopped. Right in front of a building 2 streets away from mine. She unlocked the door. Went inside. Just like that. I stood there on the sidewalk, feeling like the ground had shifted under me. All this time, she was here? Not in another city. Not hiding from something. Just living nearby. Close enough that we could have run into each other any day. But we hadn't. Because she didn't want to be found. I didn't confront her that day. I couldn't. My body just shut down. I went home, closed the door behind me, and stood there in the silence like I didn't recognize my own apartment anymore. Everything felt wrong, the couch, the table, even the air. Because suddenly all I could think was, she was here. This whole time. Not gone. Not unreachable. Not lost. Just nearby. Living her life. Breathing the same air. Walking the same streets. Avoiding me. That realization didn't just hurt, it hollowed something out of me. Because it meant every second I spent wondering if she was okay, she already was. Every sleepless night, every stupid hope that she'd come back, she had already chosen not to. I wasn't abandoned by circumstance. I was erased on purpose. The next day, I went back to her building. I stood there for hours, feeling pathetic and furious and desperate all at once. And when she finally walked out and saw me, the look on her face wasn't relief. It was fear. Like I wasn't someone she used to love. Like I was a problem she thought she'd already gotten rid of. Why? Was the only word I could get out. It came out raw, almost broken, like it had been sitting in my throat for months. She immediately looked around, scanning the street like she was about to get caught doing something illegal. "We shouldn't talk here," she said quietly. That hit me harder than I expected. Like even now, I was something she needed to hide. "You disappeared," I said, my voice rising despite myself. "You don't get to control where we talk." She flinched, actually flinched, and for a split second I almost felt bad. Almost. "I didn't disappear," she said, barely above a whisper. That's when something in me snapped. "You changed your number. You told me never to contact you. You vanished without a word," I said. "What exactly would you call that?" She opened her mouth, then closed it again. "I thought it would be easier," she finally said. I laughed, but it sounded wrong. Sharp. Empty. "For who? Me? You think this was easier for me?" She didn't answer. And that silence, it was louder than anything she could have said. We ended up sitting on a bench in a nearby park, but it didn't feel like a conversation. It felt like an autopsy. Like we were cutting open something that had already been dead for months. "There was someone else," she said finally. No build-up. No hesitation this time. Just a clean, brutal sentence. It hit me so hard I actually felt dizzy. "For how long?" I asked, even though part of me didn't want to know. She looked away. That was enough. "How long?" I repeated louder. "Months. Months. All those nights she said she was tired. All those cancelled plans. All those moments I questioned myself instead of her. She wasn't distant. She was already gone." "Why didn't you just tell me?" I asked, my voice shaking now. "Why drag it out like that?" "I didn't want to hurt you," she said. That made me angry in a way I can't fully describe. "You didn't want to hurt me?" I repeated. "So you thought disappearing would hurt less?" "I thought it would be cleaner." Cleaner. Like I was something messy she needed to wipe off her life. Then she added, almost like an afterthought, "He lives here." That was the moment everything inside me dropped. Of course he did. Close enough to replace me without even changing her routine. I lost it. Completely. All the confusion, all the weeks of not knowing, all the nights replaying memories, it all came out at once. 3 years. 3 years of my life reduced to a quiet exit and a new guy 2 streets away. You let me believe I mattered, I said, my voice breaking in a way I couldn't control. You let me plan a future with you. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, she said, tears in her eyes now. But it didn't move me. Not anymore. What about everything we had? I asked. That question hung there, heavy and desperate. She didn't answer right away. And in that silence, I already knew the truth. I cared about you, she said finally. Cared. Past tense. Like it was something temporary. Something that expired. That word destroyed whatever was left of me. Because it meant all those memories, the laughter, the routines, the plans, they weren't what I thought they were. They were just something she moved on from. Something replaceable. I felt small. Disposable. Like I had been living in a story that only mattered to me. So I walked away. Because if I stayed 1 second longer, I would have completely fallen apart in front of her. And she didn't deserve to see that. That was 6 months ago. Nothing dramatic happened after that. No closure. No apology that meant anything. No final message. Just silence again. We still live ridiculously close to each other. Close enough that sometimes I catch a glimpse of her without meaning to, across the street, in a store window reflection, walking past like a stranger. And every time, it hits me all over again. Not as sharp as before. But deeper. Heavier. The kind of pain that doesn't explode, it just sits there, permanently. I used to think the worst part was the cheating. It's not. The worst part is how easily she removed me from her life. No fight. No goodbye. No hesitation. Like I was never real to her in the first place. Like I was just a phase she quietly outgrew. I've tried dating again. But something's different now. I don't trust the same way. I don't believe words the same way. Because now I know how convincing someone can be while they're already leaving you. If there's anything I carry from this, it's this. You don't always notice when you stop being important to someone. Sometimes, by the time you realize it, they've already replaced you.